So, Corbin, on the way here,
Okay.
I had asked you, hey, friend, do you want a beverage?
Yeah, and I actually answered you.
You did, which is rare because,
And I noticed that I didn't get the beverage.
I didn't have it.
It was a chocolate milkshake I requested.
Chocolate milkshake. I went to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I asked, hey, can I have a chocolate milkshake? And they said no. They said, no, you cannot.
They said no.
It's not working. So I said, okay. I said, would it be fair? I got my food. I said, would it be fair to go and just stop? I said, no, I'm going to try one more place. I went across the street to Wendy's. Chocolate Frosties, right?
Okay.
Big sign on the front. Chocolate Frosty machine's not working.
Really?
Really. I think it's an epidemic. I think you're never going to get a chocolate milkshake again.
Did you try another McDonald's?
All of them.
You went to
all of them, and none of them had it. I think it's something you need to come to terms with. Maybe it won't be, but maybe it will be. Would you, I know it'll hurt you because you're such a fan,
Yeah.
but would you be willing to give up all of your chocolate milkshakes if, let's say, like The Big Bang Theory never existed?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I thought it is.
Yes.
Welcome to Radical Apathy, the podcast where two half-wits set out to solve all the world's problems with pop culture references and a lackadaisical attitude. Why not? It's worked so far.
Welcome, everybody, to Radical Apathy. My name is Tanner.
I'm Corbin.
That is Corbin. I think I said Radical Apathy.
I don't know what you said.
Radical Apathy is the name of the show. And today we are going to get a very exciting look into the world of the restaurateur and the car dealer-ateur. And what else?
I'm really excited to ask some of these questions.
Yeah.
I've been planning on these for quite a while.
Yeah, we got a great guest. We're going to learn about their journey, and all the while asking ourselves, why do we care?
Why do we care?
We shouldn't.
No.
So, hello, guest.
Well, and hello to you.
Guest, you are coming in from a remote session, so we appreciate all of the time that you had to wait while we putted around trying to figure our lives out.
Linking it in?
Nope. Complete and utter entertainment, both of you.
I believe you.
Introduce yourself for our audience here, sir.
My name is Clay, and that's all I'm allowed to say.
It is. We like to be anonymous as well. So, Clay, we're going to get into your background a little bit later. We do some first things. First, we just kind of ramble a little bit. What happened this week? Tanner, so you can listen to this story too, Clay. So, you know how you sit at the traffic lights?
Yeah.
And someone's in front of you, and you're second in line at the traffic lights. And the lights turns green, and then the car just stays there.
Okay.
You know, that's happened to everybody, right? And you honk the horn, and you tell them to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
So what happens, and this has happened to me the other day, when the car is a police officer? What do you do? I'll tell you what I did later.
Yeah, I mean, I can. I'm sure I'm sure you did something, and I'm sure there's going to be some type of newspaper article about it. But go ahead.
Well, here's the thing: do you honk? Do you not honk? Like, do you wait patiently for them to just clue in, or do you just lay it in and get them to move?
I would probably wait, assuming that they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. I laid into it. I leaned right into it. You get no special treatment from me, and honked them right out of the way, which I think you deserved because it was. First off, I guess I waited first and then leaned into it. Like,
what was the timeline? How long did you actually wait there, Corbin?
You get 10 seconds. You get 10 seconds before I lay into it.
10 solid seconds.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, he moved.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, you can't turn around and pull me over for something because he's in front of me.
Extremely anticlimactic.
It really was, wasn't it? I thought there was going to be a story here.
I wanted your opinion on what you guys think you should do.
Could they not pull you over with a front pullover?
Why would you take the trouble to do that? Just for honking at you?
Well, I mean, there's some that are going to be upset by some terrible sports fan behind them just honking.
Drive better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Be better.
That's fair.
All right, that's just what I had on my mind today.
Hey, Corbin, why do you care?
I don't. I don't because I honked the horn and he moved and I'm good now.
Clayton, how long would you have waited?
You know what? I probably would have sat there for a very long time. More for the entertainment value, just to see how long this process was going to go. I would have played that game out to the fullest extent.
I agree. I think just to see if now are they doing something that are they seeing something secret that you kind of want to watch something unfold? Are they going to realize
what's happening next?
Yeah, are they going to realize they're an idiot and then go?
You don't think they're going to realize they're an idiot once I honk at them?
Well, I mean, they might just ignore you.
I don't know. They didn't though. They didn't. And you know what? My new car has a nice horn on it too. Like it speaks. So that was good. I felt good about it.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I
hope it was someone I know.
Clayton?
See, and that's the other thing, though, too, right? And being as anonymous as we are, I would like to stay completely out of all radar of all of the peace officers out there that can, in turn, turn around or get on their radio and call another car and say, hey, be aware of
the
said
honker?
car with said license plate.
There's always more than
honker.
one. There's always more than one.
Watch out for the honker. He offended me.
Then all of a sudden, within 5 seconds, now you've got another car rolling up behind you, and then it's cherries on, tickets in your lap.
Nah.
There's $300.
Yeah, you don't know when it's coming.
Nah, fuck that guy. I said it.
Well, Clayton, I promise the questions probably get better than that one.
Yeah, no, I got good ones today. I'm really happy.
No, that was a good story to start off with. I was actually quite impressed. That's it's got to be top 20 of your guys' podcast so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is right.
Yeah, small sample size though.
Corbyn, last time we were here,
yeah, I did some homework.
I gave you homework.
Yeah.
Your homework. So, Clayton,
this is going to be incredibly hard to do. But
Clayton,
okay.
I'm sure you're a long-time listener of the show.
Long.
All for the dozens and dozens of years we've been doing this. So at the end of every show, we go back and forth giving each other homework, and the other one has to follow through. Mine one last week wasn't great, and the one I gave Corbyn I think was really good.
You didn't do the homework right, though.
Well, okay. Well, I mean that's up for debate. Anyway, moving forward.
Okay.
You were given homework. So what was it, and walk us through it.
The homework I was given is I have to teach you briefly a tabletop game. And I've got just the one. So we are all Star Wars fans here. This is going to be a little bit laborious, Clay. Bear with me. So we're all Star Wars fans here, yes?
Yes.
Clay, I've been to Star Wars movies with you. We went to. Did we both go to Jedi and Rise of Skywalker? Did we go to both of those?
All three.
Did we?
And we went to all three of the previous ones. We've been to a lot of movies.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like when you said previous ones, you're talking about the original, the prequels.
I don't think we went to the prequels. No, we never went to the prequels together.
Didn't we go to the prequels?
No, that was before our time.
Oh, we hit all the Marvels then.
Yeah, we do a lot.
I'm just shooting holes through your backstory already. I tell you, I don't think you two even know each other.
Actually, we went and saw New Hope back in 1979.
Yeah,
there we go. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's how old we are.
77. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so it's called X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's got these miniature to scale, 1/27th scale Star Wars canon spaceships. Okay?
Yeah.
And Tanner can see them right now. Clay can see them right now, but nobody else can see them. So this is Dengar's Punisher 1.
Right.
Okay.
Dengar was a bounty hunter who wore toilet paper.
He wore toilet paper, looked like a mummy.
Now, just for our audience,
yeah,
what Corbyn is holding is a 3-inch piece of plastic shaped like a Star Wars ship. It is on a little tiny boon of plastic material, kind of keeping it aloft, so it kind of sits above its platform by about an inch. I mean, it's well painted. Did you paint them?
Fuck no.
Okay, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead.
No. Okay, so each pilot has stat values to their ship. Mm-hmm. So there's a pilot skill number between 1 and 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Then an attack value, a defense value, hull, and shields.
Okay.
Okay. The idea is you want to shoot your other guys' ships to get through their shields and then through their hull. If their hull gets destroyed, the ship's destroyed. You gain the points.
Game over. Okay.
So each ship is worth a certain amount of points, and you build up to like 200 points per team. Okay. And that's what you bring to the table. Okay.
So you have a limited amount of resources to choose from. So you could buy a ship that's like 150 points, or you can buy 200 ships worth 1 point. That kind of thing.
Yeah, depending on what kind of ship you want. Okay. So, long story short, it's mostly about the pilot skill. Okay. So the way you move in this, you have actual templates. So like a 5 forward, a 4 forward, a 3 forward, all on a 1 forward. Then like curves. and then right hard angles. And then you can do a flip, like a turnaround.
Okay. Like a barrel roll?
Yeah. So you have a dial, and you secretly put in your move, and you place it down for each ship. Okay? And then based on your pilot skill, okay, the lowest pilot skills move first. Okay, so the lowest pilot skill, let's say it's a 1, flips over their dial, you take the template, and you move your ship on the space map. Okay? And that goes all the way up into the highest pilot skill. Okay, so Han goes last.
Well, see,
Hear me out.
Yeah, okay.
Hear me out.
All right.
He flies last. Okay, then once everyone's moved, it comes to the shooting round. And in the shooting round, highest pilot skill shoots first. So Han always shoots first. Exactly.
Okay,
right? Does that make sense? Right?
Clayton? Yeah, he gets it.
Clever.
Okay. So you see on this ship, there's what's called a firing arc. So it's like just a nice 45-degree arc coming out of the front of the ship. And if your enemy's ship is in your firing arc, you can shoot at it.
Okay.
As simple as that. Rolling dice, hits. How many hits did you get?
Yep.
You roll defense dice. How many shields did they get? You take the offset number, and that's how many hits you lay into them.
And you roll through.
And that's it.
And last person standing wins.
Last person standing wins.
And how long does one of these games take?
Well, the setup is the pain in the ass. You got to bring out the mat. You got to bring out your little tokens, because there's always tokens and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got the ships, and then so setting everything up takes a lot more longer than the actual game itself. So I'll say about a game like an hour and 20 minutes. Go ahead.
So isn't that classic tabletop in general is the actual setup? Whether you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, whether you're playing any kind of strategic tabletop game whatsoever, it's the setup.
Yeah. It's all about the setup. Because the better you set up, the better how smooth the game goes, right?
True.
So that's the gist of the game, and I wanted to make it very simple because it would be a lengthy conversation.
No, that's fair. And how many people can play a match?
So standard is 2 people, but I've played in like big ones before.
How many is in a big one?
I played like 6 people before.
Oh, and like you're all going on the same table?
So 2 sides. So and also you can play in Star Wars X-Wing. You can play as the Imperial
Good. Yeah.
Empire or whatever.
Yeah, they did nothing wrong.
The Rebels.
Yeah.
Or Scum and Villainy.
Ooh.
Which was my favorite to play.
That is exciting.
And their ships do like funky. So sometimes the pilots have abilities on top of everything. So they like do a little extra thing that you pay an extra point value for. And so they always do something scummy to your opponent that kind of throws them off their game plan.
Oh, what's Toilet Paper Dengar's scummy thing he does?
When he attacks and it's in his firing arc. So he's got a turret on his ship, so he can go everywhere around him.
Yeah.
But if you're in his firing arc, the front one, then he can make an extra attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's super strong, and he's actually this is actually not Dengar right here, but because Dengar is also a pilot skill 9. And then the difference between the ships is some ships can do some moves and some ships can't do some moves. This ship right here, which you can't see, guys, this one, Clay, it goes very slow moves, very slow turns.
Looks like a drop ship with solar panels.
Yeah, this is Forlom and what's the other guy? Forlom and what's his nuts? Zuckuss' ship, and this is Dengar's ship. And so this one is very nimble and can go fast and turn really fast and stuff. So it depends on what you're playing.
Okay.
How's that?
Clayton,
did I do a good job?
Well, Clayton, have you played this game before?
No.
Would you?
Thanks for asking for me, just in case.
Clayton, would you want to now that you've read about it or heard about it? Sorry.
Now that I've actually seen a nice little demonstration as well, unlike the listeners that we have on the podcast, but I could see us breaking open a bottle of bourbon, sitting down and having one heck of a good time on that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go ahead and sponsor a Star Wars X-Wing.
Sponsor us. And this table you're sitting at, the podcast, was actually built specifically to play Star Wars X-Wing.
Really? It is. Yeah. It is a nice gaming table.
It's a gaming table. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, we've just been really visual the first 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
And
hey,
the
everybody.
listeners are bored as shit. It looks great from here, guys.
Yeah.
It looks really, really nice. So, thank Corbyn. You know what? I'm going to say that his homework done.
Yes.
I feel like I learned something. So thank you.
No problem.
And you've got homework for me now.
No.
At the end of the show, you're going to tell me about homework.
Do I?
Yeah,
because I kind of want you just to finish the homework I gave you last week that you didn't finish.
Well, it's been done.
Because that's what I want.
I mean, we don't put so much rules on it, but it's,
all right.
it's
Well,
been
I'm going to have to make it up as we go.
It's not a change. So, that is going to lead us into
Okay, our guest or the top five.
top five.
Top five.
Top five.
Because
Clayton,
everyone
you ready?
loves lists, Clayton. We always do a top five.
It's all about the list.
Okay, top five today. It's super exciting. So, when I moved into my current home, I was cleaning out the basement.
Okay.
And in there's like a small double closet in the basement where there's the main closet and there's like another little tiny door, like a little Harry Potter door.
Okay.
Open it up.
That's where your house elf lives?
Right.
Yeah.
Except as soon as I opened it up for the first time, there was a 2-foot doll in a tuxedo standing there.
Have you ever looked in this door before?
This was the first time I ever looked in it.
That's fucking terrifying.
It was horrifyingly scary.
Okay, sorry, Tanner, I got to stop you.
Yeah, please do.
So you've moved into said place.
Correct.
So this is all brand new. You
All brand
open
new.
the door because you're cleaning out the remains of the previous owner's stuff, correct?
No, the closet itself was completely empty, ready to go. There's another door in the closet, and I was like, oh, a little fucking Narnia door. Cool.
Oh,
But
I see.
I mean, in reality, I think the previous homeowner just wanted a gaff and left it, it was horrifying.
Yeah, horrifying.
So
And they won.
they did. They absolutely did. So that got me thinking, what are the top 5 scariest / weirdest things found in basements? And so that's what I brought today.
Oh, man. You know what? I can actually show you this, but again, nobody will be able to see it.
Yeah, we got to stop doing that.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Gotta stop. This is
work
not
for
a
the
visual
format.
aid, yeah. So, number 5.
Number 5.
And the most interesting ones I could pull out were from Factinate. Rachel Siegel on Factinate wrote these, so I'm just reading Rachel's words, but they're pretty interesting. So the first number 5 was officers from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation had no idea what was in store for them when they made a house call in 2017. The officers found 7 live sharks in the home's basement-made pool. 3 more of the sharks in the pool were dead. That's sad. And at his trial, the homeowner Joshua Sanguine, sounds made up, admitted that he trafficked and sold sandbar sharks, which are a protected species. The sharks were seized and are now living better lives in the New York Aquarium.
Huh.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty scary to see sharks in a basement.
Yeah. And there's a giant homemade pool of sharks.
The only time I've seen that is in Resident Evil.
There are sharks from Resident Evil. Yeah.
Do you remember that, Clay? You played Resident Evil, the first one, or are you too scared? Okay.
Oh, I got through it too.
Yeah.
a scary one.
Shark just showed up. That was scary.
That was scary. So number 5, that sharks in the basement. Number 4.
Yeah.
In 2009, after purchasing a home in Rexburg, Ohio, a couple began finding some unwelcome visitors in their backyard, specifically a lot of snakes. As if it wasn't bad enough, they also heard noises in the walls and under the floors as they slept. So wanting to investigate, they removed much of the panel siding within their basement, and suddenly hundreds and hundreds of snakes came pouring from the now opened wall from the dug up earth and all rolled down into the house itself. Yeah. Fun fact, little bonus fact, the couple also finally realized why their water has had an onion-like taste for the last 6 months before this.
Dude.
Because there was a giant, like, thousands nest of snakes.
They were drinking snake water the whole time.
Yeah, snake musk. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, drinking and bathing in it.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it would
I
have
don't like that
been,
either.
been. So it would have cost $100,000 to remove the snakes and rebuild the damage that was done to the pipes in the house and everything. So not wanting to play that in, they filed for bankruptcy and moved out.
Holy shit.
Snakes, yeah.
That's just awful.
Sharks and snakes. That's number 4.
That's the 4th one.
That's the 4th
All
one.
right. Go ahead with 3.
All right. Clayton, you're still with us? You're okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A little petrified over here, Indiana Jones style. I'm not a big fan of snakes.
Right.
Not a snake
That
guy,
would
eh?
be Not even a little bit.
Right?
What would scare you more, snakes or sharks?
Oh, that's a great question. You can't
Thank
get
you.
me in the ocean, so I have no problem with sharks. I'm staying on the land.
Snakes on a plane?
Yeah. Snakes go anywhere.
Yeah.
Number 3, when a group of Ohio State University students moved into a house together, they thought they were living the dream of a cheap home going to school. But the house was kind of odd. When they came home, things would be moved. They would have strange smells. Appliances would be turned on, even though all the roommates have insisted they never touch them. So, of course, young people from Ohio assumed, as anyone would, ghosts, because of course it would be ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts.
Right? You have ghosts roommates in there. No, it turns out that there was a secret locker in the basement that was hid a secret room in said basement where someone had been living.
Livering? Oh, my God.
They were a liverer who had been livering in the house since they were supposedly kicked out. So for over a year, a gentleman by the name of Jeremy, which is creepy for some reason, had been hiding in the basement and waiting for people to go to sleep. He'd go up and eat their food and touch their stuff and go back down and hide in his secret room when they were up and about.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, Jeremy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's worse that his name is Jeremy for some reason.
Yeah.
Seems more scary. Yeah.
Jeremy is a scary name.
Jeremy's a scary name.
What's that Korean horror movie that came out 2 years ago?
Parasite.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't
exactly
seen that one.
I
Don't
just
tell me what it's
thought
about, okay? I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, I mean, it's flowers and rainbows and
I'm going to watch this now.
unicorns.
I'm going to watch it now.
I'm sorry, we talked about it before on this podcast.
Did we? Yeah, I think we did.
With that director. But that will take us to number 2, which is all about Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
So, was Benjamin Franklin a serial killer?
Yes.
Clayton?
We got to go with yes on this because it's just way better.
2 yeses.
Yeah.
So this was quite the question on everyone's lips in 1998, where conservationists were hard at work in Franklin's old London home when they uncovered a mass grave with over 1,200 human and animal skeletal remains buried in the basement.
1,200?
1,200.
How big's his house?
He's a rich dude, right?
I guess.
So even creepier, the remains date back to when Benjamin Franklin lived in the home. So why did Ben Franklin, was he stockpiling or burying human bodies and animal remains?
Okay, that's
Now,
creepy.
was this Ben's original home?
His original London home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, was he the first owner of said home?
I don't believe he was the first owner, but the majority of the bodies were all dated to the time when he lived there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, is how they did it. So most people said, in the late 90s, that he was a serial killer, and it kind of started off the whole thing. But historians believed that during this time, Franklin was allowing his friend William Hewson to use the home as a secret anatomy school, because studying bodies was a very big controversy back then.
Oh.
So he would take in dead bodies given to him, and he would set up a surgical suite in his basement and allow his doctor friend William Hewson to perform autopsies and training new doctors how to do autopsies on bodies in secret, because they weren't allowed to, and then they would just bury the bodies when they were done.
Was he in the Whitechapel area during that time?
I think he was a little bit before the Whitechapel times.
Okay. Whitechapel, for those who don't know, is the Jack the Ripper. 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll touch on him. We haven't gone full murder podcast yet.
No, we haven't.
One day.
Okay.
One day we'll get there if we work hard enough. And number 1 of Tanner's top 5 scary things found in the basement it was a normal day on Turkey's Anatolian coast, and the year was 1963. The sky was blue, and a regular homeowner was about to make a phenomenal discovery. After knocking down a wall in his house he wanted to expand, he found a hidden room, which in and of itself is exciting. And yet from that hidden room he found another, and another, and then another. And what he inadvertently discovered was an entire underground city, which has now been since called Derinkuyu. It is one of the strangest and most impressive archaeological finds of the 20th century. It's an ancient city believed to have been home to the Hittites and formed by a vast network of underground tunnels. At least 8 levels have now been excavated, and they're still not at the bottom of them. So in the case of life underground, sounds sad. They had kitchens and livestock facilities and washrooms and even running water from an underground river.
That is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I think your doll's still the creepiest one of all the things you said.
The snakes would be a lot.
Snakes would be a bit, yeah.
I'm not super scared of snakes, but it would be a lot if a wall of 1,000 snakes broke down and all their
But
pee water came on
supernatural
you.
dolls, man, that's just creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Do you know what I did with the doll?
What's that?
Don't. Well, if you haven't found it yet, I won't tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
So my grandma, God bless her,
Yeah.
gave all of her grandkids' wives and granddaughters a doll for Christmas one year. And it's a China doll, very featured, and it's in this glass case. Like, it's Annabelle to a T.
Creepy.
And so I still got it in the other room over there. And so sometimes I'll just put it out in the basement bathroom here. And then my son will go in there and turn on the light, and the shit gets scared out of him all the time. Because it's the creepiest doll ever. All right, good top 5.
Clayton, do you have any scary dolls in your home?
No, absolutely no scary dolls in my home, but I do want Corbyn to put up a video camera the next time you do that. I need reaction video.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to post that.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Next
Radicalapathy scaring children. That's what comes next.
It's allowed. There are kids.
Closer and closer to the horror podcast we come.
All right, we're going to get into our guest's background here. So, Clayton, we're going to touch on 2 of your backgrounds, which I'm really interested to talk about. The first one is the restaurateur type background. So, first off, you are to tell them what your current position is, but you don't have to give names or anything.
Fair enough. I am a general manager at a restaurant here in the city that I live in. The city that I'm in, just for listeners' knowledge, is 1 million people. So it's a little bigger than your average town. So there's a lot of opportunities, lots of options around.
Okay, and so let's just start right out of the gate, because we always hear a manager, I want to speak to your manager. Manager. What is...
You said that before, haven't you?
GM versus manager, what's the difference?
What's the difference between a general manager and the traditional manager?
Yeah.
Your general manager is going to run your day-to-day operations. They're going to be there from 9 to 5. They're going to do all your ordering. They're going to do all of the things that are necessary to keep the building successfully running. Your managers that are on your nights, traditionally, when you have said guest raising his fist in the air, ready to yell at the top of his lungs because his steak took an extra minute and a half, then that's traditionally going to happen at night.
Yeah.
So when you've got a general manager taking care of the day-to-day operations, they're going to have a couple of managers underneath to help facilitate the night service.
Okay. So
sense?
you're the daytime guy you're the big boss who runs the managers who run the floor, basically.
Correct.
Okay. So give us just a journey of your kind of journey through the restaurant industry. How did you start? How'd you get there? How'd you get to where you are now?
Started out 16 years old washing dishes. It was the classic story. I'm that guy that was in the back, 16 years old, washing dishes. And then, of course, you have all the pretty waitresses walking through, and then you go to the manager and say, I don't want to wash dishes anymore. I want to be where they are. They said, it's okay, Clay. You can work online first. So then you start working in the kitchen, and then you start learning all of that. A couple of years later, I'd moved to another city in order to play football. And this was my break out of the kitchen and into the front of the house. Mm-hmm. So I go into this new restaurant and I tell the general manager at the time, I'm here playing football. He goes, perfect. I've got the exact job for you. You're now running food up and down the stairs. So for one full summer.
It feels like a demotion. It feels like a demotion.
Oh, it was... You know what? My legs were like tree trunks at the end of that summer. And we're talking like those big full trays of food that you have to put on your shoulder, going up and down the stairs in plus 40 weather, trying to dodge all of these tourists and all these guests and everybody else that are rolling through there. But it's such an exhilarating thing because how busy everything is. And it's such an addiction at that point where you're excited and running. And then by the end of the night, you're exhausted, but you're like, wow, that was a great shift. As time progressed, and then I started serving and then bartending. And after that, I moved over to the management side and was managing for a few years. Then I went to school. And then I took a hiatus because I got married and had a kid, and I quote unquote retired from the service industry.
And now you're back.
And then obviously that takes you back. Well, and now I'm back. So after that retirement took me to the other industry you're going to talk about, and I did that for 10 years. And then after the divorce, I went straight back into the industry.
So, question then for you, Clayton.
Of course.
Why the fuck am I boxing up my own leftovers?
Yeah, I want to know the answer to this.
Wouldn't you rather know what's going into that box than me taking your plate to the back, boxing it up myself, and then all of a sudden you get home and this is not what you've eaten. The amount of times that people have said, I had more than this on my plate.
But that's just bullshit, right? That's just people fucking be bullshit.
But you've got to deal with the 1% because that 1% is the loudest. So sadly, the other 99% are stuck with boxing up their own food.
Wait a minute now. How come they can't come to my table and box it up in front of me?
You're gonna do like a little Benihana thing.
Yeah, like a production.
You know what? We do a whole lot of production in that restaurant. If that's one of the things that you want to put on the list of things that I have to do.
Okay, so speaking to what you said earlier, do we only hire pretty waitresses? Is that still a thing?
You know what? I'll hire anybody that's a diamond in the rough. And by saying that, they've got to be good with people. They need to know how to have a conversation, and they need to be intelligent.
And they need to be pretty.
Well, you know what? It doesn't suck if you're not.
That's why we're all on podcasts.
That's why definitely not pretty here.
The face for podcasts, right?
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it.
Oh man. What is the markup on booze? Don't lie to me. Come on.
So you're gonna have like a dozen people getting the secret.
This
here.
is not a secret, Tanner, to Corbyn. You go into a restaurant, you have a glass of wine, it's $15.
Yeah.
You know the label of the wine that you ordered. Then you walk into the liquor store the next day, and that same bottle is $15. I'll let you do the math.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
So
sidebar. Okay, one bottle.
How many cups? How many cups are in a bottle?
I think you can get 3 solid glasses out of a bottle.
3 cups.
Maybe
There's
4.
There's 24 ounces in a 750 milliliter bottle.
Okay.
Traditionally, it's a 6-ounce glass. That's 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
Okay, so I got a side question. This is a side question before we go back to the math. You just said 24 ounces just now. Okay,
Correct.
why, when everyone was, and I never did this, I will stand by my grave, I've never done this in my life. Why does everyone say, I want a 2-4 of this, or a 2, why just say 24, you lazy fuck? Just say 24. I want a 2-4 of this, or I want a 40 of this. 40 makes sense, but then you say 2-4, that makes no sense.
Well, I think a 2-4 is also a flat, right?
It is a flat.
You say 24.
As soon as I hear 2-4, I think of a flat.
Yeah, I thought
Whereas,
flat.
like,
There's 24 in a 2-4, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I stand by my statement. Why aren't we saying 24?
Well, I don't know. Is that more of a Canadian thing, Clay?
That's a great question, and that could be coming down from the metrics, even measurements from the States to Canada. There's so many differences, and it's even there. It's called a 2.6, not a 2.4.
Oh, that's
Right.
2.6, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
that's what your 2-4 was throwing me off.
Son of a bitch, you're right.
I thought you were talking
forgot.
about a flat.
I don't like to call it a 2.6, though. I've never done that. Okay, back to the regular questions.
These
Okay.
math is. Ooh.
What drink should I order where I'm getting the most bang for my buck?
I love that it's all booze questions for you because
So
you're
far.
on this bourbon kick right now.
Yeah.
If you're ordering an old fashioned, anything you get 2 ounces out of, you're going to be spending above $10. If you want more bang for your buck, you're going to be the happy hour master. That means go to every single happy hour because it's the only time you're going to get any bang for your buck whatsoever.
Interesting.
The rest of the time, you're stuck. If you look at a martini, you're going to get a martini, 2 ounces instantly, but you're still paying over $10. If you're going to get a regular cocktail, single ounce, you're going to be paying between $9 and $10. So if you can get a 2-ounce drink for that average price, that's the one you want to hit up.
Is there, and I might ask this a couple of times as we go on, is there a secret cabal of restaurateurs where you guys all agree on what the price you're going to charge for a glass of wine is going to be? Is it just haphazard, or are you just doing your thing and then someone's like, shit, old Clay's charging way less?
Is it like gas prices where you're like, they're charging this, we got to up our prices?
How does it, is there any of that?
Absolutely all the market. And it goes up year upon year upon year, and it comes from the prices of the bottles. I did my liquor order the other day, and every week I do my order, there's an increase in price on the bottles. And it may be a minute amount. This one bottle I'm talking about was only 8 cents. But if they're doing that every single week, that keeps going up. In time, head office sees this, and then head office will set the prices and say, okay, this price of booze, whether it's a bottle of tequila, a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of wine, has gone up X amount of dollars in the last 6 months. We now have to add 50 cents to this glass of whatever you're drinking. So every other restaurant is dealing with that same amount. So if you are in a circuit of restaurants, so if you're in the casual dining area or if you're in the high-end dining area, you've already got your prices set because you know what the competition's doing, and you've been knowing that for decades. So you're just raising your prices by what the bottle and what the market has set for you. So whatever you buy your bottle of liquor for, that's going to be setting the price, which is why we see prices of all of our food and all of our booze going up over the last 6 months to 3 years because of the increase of prices of lettuce, of bread, of wine. It happens because it's the people and the farmers, it's the grapes and the harvesting, everything else is going up as well. So that in turn, the prices on your menus are going up.
So there is no secret cabal of restaurateurs.
There is no secret cabal. Not that I know of. Maybe
would you tell me? Level. Would you tell me if there was?
Tanner, I would not tell you if I
was. I don't think you would.
It's not a society of secrets.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not a secret society. It's a society of secrets. Hey, do you guys recycle?
Yes.
Who takes the recycling back?
We've got a company that comes in and takes all of our recycling. So they actually come in and take all of our bottles.
Really?
Interesting. Do you guys get a cut of that?
Do you get a cut, or you have to pay a cut?
Very, very small cut. Yeah, so basically we pay for them to take our bottles. If we were to do that, the amount of bottles that would have to get shipped from all of the restaurants is just be enormous. So you'd have to hire one person to do that in order to reap the benefits. Well, then you're paying that person, and then where's that money going anyway? So we pay a company that comes in and takes all of our bottles.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah, that would be good. Maybe you and I should start a bottle drive business.
A restaurant bottle business.
Yeah. Ooh, God. We're so smart.
Holy shit.
Okay, podcast is over. So I Clay, we just met, but I'm very well traveled. I'm a worldly fellow. I've been to other provinces. But one of the things I noticed traveling outside the country, outside of North America, is the tipless culture, where we're obviously tips here, and that's a big part of the push for service industry, but everywhere else it is not. So on one hand, we see an increase from the 15% to 25% for the regular tip to people. But
people are tipping 25%?
Yeah, but on the other hand, we're seeing I love that you don't know. And then on the other hand, it's you're seeing some places are going tipless. So is tipless the future of the service industry, or is there always going to be tips in North America?
There's always going to be tips because the culture's already been set that way. And the people that have tried to go tipless, there's not very many, and not a lot of restaurants are jumping onto that bandwagon at all. I know that having tips rolling in helps the restaurateur keep labor and percentages down that way too. So it's very competitive. If you've got a chef trying to look for a job out there, they're going to be looking for $1 per hour set at a rate of their skills. So if they're a sous chef, then they've got a certain level that they can get at for $1 per hour. The tips that come in also help pay that wage, because the server that receives said tips, a percentage of those tips go out to the support staff, the hostesses, the bussers, the dishwashers, all of the chefs, the management crew. So there's a percentage of every single tip coming from the waitress, coming from the guest, that goes out to the whole restaurant. So in essence, when you're paying for your food, that's one thing. But then when you're tipping, you're helping out pay for the staff that's in that establishment.
So it is here to stay.
It is, because then you'd have restaurants that have to pay more for wages, because then the tips are going to be gone. And if you've got people that are paying more for wages, you're going to see a lot more restaurants shut down too.
So with the changes of tips, what is a reasonable, in your mind, what is a reasonable tip for good service?
And mediocre service. I want to know both. What's good for...
You know what? I'm very, very bad to ask, because I will never tip under 20%. I don't care how bad the service is.
You don't care how bad the service is?
Really?
I've been in the industry for 30 years. I understand where that money goes. I understand how it gets divvied up.
Yeah.
And I understand that those people may have a mortgage to pay, have kids to feed, and that's part of their living wage.
And the chefs are and let's say everyone who's not the front-of-line waitress is counting on that person to give good service.
Absolutely.
Because those tips funnel down to everybody else in the business.
Which is why when you have a good restaurateur, you're going to have damn good servers. Because when you look at it, the restaurant, you can get a burger anywhere, Corbyn. Tanner, you can go and get a pizza anywhere. But you're coming in for the service that is. And if you've got good management, good training, and a good culture, you're going to have good people serving you. And if you've got good people serving you, you will always get good service.
Knowing what you know over, like ballpark it, how many different restaurants have you worked for?
I've worked for one company for 30 years.
Okay.
And in that company, 6 different of those restaurants.
Knowing what you know now. Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, and then this is the first one outside of said company.
Okay. Oh. So knowing what you know now about restaurants, would you eat at a Denny's at 3 a.m?
Now, here's a second question to help me answer said question. Or is this just off of the Las Vegas Strip when we've already been pounding back a bunch of
We'll get to Vegas
at the table?
We'll get to Vegas later, sir. We'll get to Vegas later. We're going to Vegas in a week.
Yeah, that's true. I know. You're gonna do a special on-site presentation for the show, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now that I said that.
All of that.
No, let's just say you came back from a long drive planting trees because you're a good person, and you came back late, and that's all that there is.
Like, you know what? I don't eat out that late. I don't eat after 9 o'clock at night. It's a tough decision, man, because I don't go out to restaurants.
Would you rather have 7-Eleven nachos, knowing exactly what you're getting, kind of, or that 3 a.m. Denny's, not knowing who the fuck is back there?
So basically, I'm pumping the nacho cheese myself.
Yeah.
Or I'm rolling the dice because you don't know what's in the back. However, when you're at a Denny's, you've got some hardworking people that are there at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and those are the people that are grinding it out. It's probably their third job, and they're going from place to place to place just to make sure that they're paying their way in this world.
You know, you're so positive.
I trust a lot of people in the restaurant business as long as it's clean when I walk in. If I see anything that shows me sideways, then their kitchen may not be as clean. So if you walk in a restaurant, you want to know how clean their kitchen is.
Yeah.
Just do a quick walk through, run to the bathroom, check out how everything is taken care of. That way you'll know how the whole restaurant is being cleaned.
Okay.
And so, sorry, and I want a side note question here because I thought of it. I realized this week I went to a Sunday brunch with my wife, and it was a breakfast buffet at a nice kind of mom and pop restaurant here in town, and I realized I don't like buffets. Is what I came to my realization. I don't want to just serve out of a bucket. I want what I want to order. Yep. It's never the best version of that food, and you're
sitting there.
It's been sitting there for how long? And so,
yeah.
I mean, Chinese buffet, okay, it's its own thing. But I've realized I don't like buffets. So, really quick, Clay, run me down your opinions on buffets.
I'm not a fan either. When we were 16, 17 years old, the amount of buffets we used to go run to in between classes in high school was enormous. And you would hit all of them. It would be a pizza buffet or it'd be a Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. As long as you paid your $10 to eat as much as you wanted, perfect. But at 40 plus, I'm with you, Tanner. Cook what I want, comes out hot. This is exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much. I'll pay that price.
So we're not going to a Vegas buffet is what you're saying.
That's different. Vegas? Vegas.
There's always an asterisk, but yeah, okay.
Especially after a 6-hour session at the poker table.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I was sitting there, and for whatever reason, it just clicked, and I was like, I don't like this.
What I want to know is, and I'm really excited to hear this answer, because this along with the bottle thing.
Yeah.
I want to know how much food waste is there in restaurants.
It's the food waste that comes out, and we try to order as much. So there's par levels for everything, right? So you judge how many plates of Alfredo pasta that you're going to be selling in that week. So you're going to order that Alfredo sauce and that amount of fettuccine because you sold X amount the previous year. So your forecast sets everything up. So by the end of the week, you want to finish your week off selling your last plate of pasta and then moving on to your new order coming in. The waste that comes out is coming from the tables themselves.
Okay.
Okay, so you got people ordering food, and the amount of food that you're tossing out at the end, that's where the big waste comes in.
Is it ever shocking to you, like, how much food is left about from people?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, is it
and
a lot?
It's funny, too. We have, classic example, we had a table of 8 high school girls came in. They didn't have school. They all ordered an appetizer. Then they all ordered a meal. Guess how much of that meal that was eaten at the end?
None of it?
Not like almost none. A couple bites, like, oh, we shouldn't have ordered that appetizer. Classic example. How many times have we gone somewhere, myself included, ordered an appetizer because I really wanted those pizza bite things, and then all of a sudden, right? You get your meal at the end. You're like, okay, so I shouldn't have ordered that big, large pasta or lasagna or whatever it was.
We're getting appetizers in Vegas at that steakhouse, just so you know.
Understood.
That shit's happening.
I'll starve myself for 24 hours before we head there.
So, where we're from, there's like a big water crisis that's happening that people aren't talking about. And the reservoirs are going down, and there's, so how do you feel about when, like, local governments or provincial governments say, hey, everybody, don't shower, don't wash your dishes, but restaurants, business as usual. Like that just drives me nuts. What do you say to that when someone says something to you?
I think this is just a whole thing that's come back from what happened in COVID too. How as soon as everything went down with COVID, whether you're on one side or the other, the amount of restaurants that shut down, everybody was locked down. The amount of restaurants that closed as well was absolutely crazy. This water thing, I don't know enough about it. This just came up 24 hours ago, correct? So I haven't done any research to see where or what the issue was, because it's in the northern area of where we are. So the area that I'm in, all the car washes are closed. Everything is all shut down that way. And even me washing dishes today gave me concern. Like, I need to wash these dishes. It's got to be hot water because it's got to be health safe. Yeah. And we have to make sure that these plates are coming out clean, because I've still got more people sitting down and eating.
Yeah. I feel you.
As a GM of restaurants, Clay, do you also deal meth out of the back like Gus from Breaking Bad?
Also, this is part of the club we talked about earlier.
Oh, shit.
Damn it. I knew it there were there.
One day I'm going to break that wall down.
We're going to get in one day.
Do you want to do 11 or do you want to move into the new job?
Yeah, I want to know. Okay, so this is our last question about restaurants. What's the worst part of managing people, or the best part, or both?
You know what? The most interesting part, I'll tell you this right now, being in the industry for as long as I have, is watching the generations change. From the generation that we are, and then moving on, then having the millennials come through, and then moving on and having the Gen Z now picking up the mantle and starting to host and starting to work in the kitchen. You have to be a chameleon, and you have to be adaptive as well, dealing with a lot of these different generations. Yes, we can say that they're coddled and they're lazy and everything else, but guess what? The baby boomers said that about us. And it was said about the baby boomers when in the 1950s. Every single generation feels that the next generation is just too fucking lazy and can't do their job unless they're whipped. Well, sadly, we can't whip anybody anymore. We have to...
Unless you're part of the secret cabal.
Ask them polite. But, and that's the biggest thing, is just adapting to all these different generations. And when the next generation rolls in, it's how do we get them to perform at the best of their ability, and how do we want them to be the best who they are? And then once they're done their 6 years, we unleash them onto society, knowing we did the best we can to mentor them.
How young is your youngest employee?
My youngest employee is 16.
16. Kitchen, obviously, because they can't be in the front of the house if there's alcohol?
Host.
Okay.
Host. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 16. How do you even go about hiring a 16-year-old? Like, what substantive...
What type of TikTok do you show them?
What kind of TikTok do you have to look at as a resume now to even
See, this is the best thing. Being a father with 2 daughters,
yeah,
it makes it so much easier. I'll tell you, like I've got these two daughters that I have basically trained me on how to hire other people. So if they've got any qualities that I can see in my daughters, then they're instantly on the front of the house. However, if they roll in with headphones and looking like they just came out of the skate park, I turn them around and I say, you go get changed and you come back like you want the job.
Yeah.
I've done that twice in the last 2 weeks.
Did you hire them back?
They haven't come back yet.
I like that point, though.
I like that point. So
that's where you are now.
That's where now. So let's talk about where you were. Because you had like a section in between, and you worked for a car dealership.
I did.
And so I'm going to ask number 12 later, just so you know.
Oh, it's coming.
Okay, so I want to know, and I'm dead serious, is being a car salesman the most stressful job maybe ever because you don't know where your income's coming from?
Bingo, but every job that I've done has all been commissioned. Like when you're serving and bartending, you're not working for your paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So commission as a car salesman, commission in the finance office is the same thing, but it's more stressful because if you don't sell that one car in that month, then you go from not eating to eating. You go from not paying your mortgage to paying your mortgage. It can be pretty stressful, and you've got to grind it out because they rate buying a car in between getting a root canal and getting sued from a lawyer. It's not an exciting situation at all.
Oh, man.
So I mean, let's get into the bobs and weasels of it.
Bobs and weasels, Tanner.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I've never heard that.
We have a lot of weasels, and the people
Bobs.
who own them are named Bob. Why is it always that, I guess, the GM of the dealership or the manager, whoever it is, my car dealer guy, he says, oh, okay, yeah, well, if I need that offer, I'll have to go, I'll talk to the boss, or, we can do that, I'll go talk to the boss. And then they bring you into the room and you meet the boss, and he is always a super greedy prick. So what's the deal? Why is that? What's
his deal?
Is that an intentional, methodological point of what they're doing, or are they just always pricks?
Here's a question for you. All of the cars that are on lots, do you think that they own every single one of those units?
I have no idea how car dealerships work. No idea whatsoever.
They don't. Every single one of those units are financed from the bank by the dealerships. They do not have the amount of capital to put every single unit on that lot. So they don't own those units.
Oh.
So every day that a unit sits on a lot, it costs them more money.
Interesting.
And everything that they give away costs them more money. So when they're trying to put lights on and when they're trying to pay, and you've gone to a dealership and you see the amount of employees that they house there, the more money is not made selling cars. All the money in a dealership is made in the back end. It's in the service. It's in the body shop. It's building a relationship with you so that you go back to that car dealership and you get your oil changed there. You get the dent knocked out there. You get your tires changed there. They want to build up that relationship. So they're not holding a whole lot of gross on a car. They're trying to just get the car down the street so that relationship's built and then you come back. However, you're not wrong, Tanner. There is a lot of cocks out there that don't know how to build relationships. They just, want to be the big top dog, and they're going to roll in and bully their way to a sale instead of building relationship.
So when someone works on commission, is there any base salary whatsoever? None.
They're just there taking up
So they
space.
could hire as many employees as they wanted, and it's up to them. Oh, wow.
Oh, sure, but it's a representation of your dealership, right? It's the same thing. It's the same culture. It's a service industry, right? Whether you're selling a $50,000 car or a $5 drink, you've got to have the right people in place because you're selling the dealership. The person that you put in front of that person, it's all about what the guest wants. And what can I do for the guest to make sure they leave that restaurant, that dealership, or whatever service industry it is, happy. And if you're not working towards that, having the guest leave with a smile on their face, then you're failing right off the bat.
So right now the interest rates are insanity.
Gross.
So are all these guys are they got to be starving right now, no?
Fighting. But guess what? With all these interest rates as high as they are, that's where the new car sales have gone completely in the mud. The used car sales over the last 3 years have gone through the roof. Everybody's buying a used car. And whether it's a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old car, you're getting a similar interest rate as a new car. So why are you spending top dollar for a brand new vehicle when you can get a 3-year-old vehicle with 60,000 kilometers on it and still pay a similar interest rate?
Is there a kilometer number you see on a used car that as soon as you see that number, you're like, there's no way I'll buy that car?
Over 100.
Anything over 100.
Anything over 100,
Even
really?
for like a diesel engine.
You know what? I wouldn't buy a diesel. I don't need a diesel for anything. Like, look at me. I drive a little car. I'm not pulling anything. I don't need to show how big my cock is. Like, it doesn't matter.
But how else will people know?
Well, you're right. I should just raise it up by 10 inches.
At least
too,
by
and make
10.
it look even
That's
bigger.
average.
Yeah.
10 is average.
No, but in all honesty, I wouldn't need diesel for anything. The only way, if you look at like the little cars that have the diesel engines, but if you're going to go that way, you may as well buy an electric car.
Don't do that.
Don't buy an electric car.
Don't buy. I've done it, and after, just don't.
Okay. Yeah. So if you bring interest into it, how much wiggle room do dealerships really have on a car? Like, just to make it flat and easy, we'll say $50,000 is the price of the car. Like, in general, how much wiggle room are we actually talking about?
When you see these rebates, like you look now and you're listening, especially when the end of the year comes and you see $14,000 off a Dodge Ram, $16,000 off a Ford. That's not a markup from the dealership. That money comes straight from factory and head office in Toronto or New York or wherever that is. So that's not the money that's sitting there. Traditionally, you're going to have between $3,000 and $5,000 markup on a vehicle, depending on the amount of vehicle. If you're buying a $20,000 car, you may see $2,000 to $3,000. $50,000 car, around that $5,000 to $6,000 area. It's not a ton, but then once you start rolling in some of the little things like the commission that's got to come out of that, and then okay, we're going to pay for this, and then we're going to put this in there. That all tax into the actual gross of the vehicle.
So give us an example of what a commission would be on a sold vehicle.
When I was in the industry, it was 20 to 25%. And that was good. So if you sold 10 cars and you're making 20% on your commission, then you could potentially walk away, what, $4,000, $5,000?
Per car?
Nope.
And if you sell 10
month.
cars. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And there's some people who sell, like, they don't cap it. Like, there's some people that sell more than 10 cars in a month.
Oh, no. They're not going to say, hey, stop selling cars.
Yeah. But they don't cap their commission, though, is what I'm saying.
No.
Okay.
No. Some dealerships would, but then why would that motivate you to sell number 11 or number 21?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right?
So then if we're talking about the add-ons and that kind of stuff, what car options are good to get when you're buying a new vehicle, and which ones are bullshit?
Yeah, wait. It's I buy warranty with every single vehicle that I've ever bought.
Really?
Every single one.
Why? Why, Clay?
Because I've seen how many vehicles come through the service area with problems after the 3 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, okay, so now what? Sorry, that engine's going to cost you $5,000. Whoops. Little things like a transmission, or it could be a computer system. All of these cars now are all done with computers. You have a chip that goes out in your computer system that's going to cost you $6,000 to fix. I'm sorry, if I know I'm keeping my vehicle for 5 years, warranty is going to be on that vehicle for 5 years.
Interesting. And anything else? What about the other stuff? Do I want rust protection?
Undercoating, is that bullshit?
You know what? It is what it is. A lot of people like the undercoat because it's supposed to make it a quiet ride. It's very personally dependent. It's not something that I would choose to put on my vehicle.
You're talking to us like you still work there.
I feel like we're getting close to the secret car salesman cabal. Like, I feel like we're getting too close to the car salesman cabal now.
Let us in.
Pull back that curtain.
We're all over the place. I still have my membership key.
You go buy a car today. This is like a magician showing another magician tricks. Like, what do you...
I already told you what I put on my car.
Yeah, so you put it on, but like, what do you say when you're trying to deal? Like, are you trying to get like oil changes? Are you trying to get like winter tires? Are you like what? Like, what are you saying?
I've already negotiated a price before I go in there. This is what I'm willing to pay. The last car I bought, I did all online via email and text, and
Okay.
I had the price that I wanted negotiated, and I had the warranty that I wanted negotiated. All I had to do was go in and sign the papers.
How did you know what to price all those things out at before you went?
You throw it at the wall and see if it fits right now, because it's been, how long has it been since I've been in the industry? It was
7-8 years, maybe.
No, we got to think 10 years, 11 years.
Okay.
So that's a decade of things that have changed in that industry. What they have markup in now, I may not know, but I knew what the cost of things were back then.
Yeah.
So if I said, okay, I'm willing to buy this at this price, it's fair because you're still going to make money on it. And I'm not here to steal any money from anybody. However, I just want to walk away with a fair deal. Mm-hmm. Is that acceptable? No problem. Great.
And you did most of that online?
I did.
Interesting.
Clay, is leasing bullshit?
I leased my last 2 vehicles.
Yep.
The reason why you want to lease are one of 2 different reasons. If you own a company and you can write off your payments, lease your vehicle every 2 years, get a new vehicle every 2 years, because you're getting that money back at the end of the year from the government, or bringing down how much you made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can write it off.
Okay. If you want to be the person that gets into a new vehicle every 2 years, lease the vehicle, because you're going to be in payments anyway.
Yeah. It's kind of like...
So you may as well make your payments, hand the keys back in 2 years, drive away in a new car for 2 years, and keep that going.
It's kind of like buying cell phones nowadays.
Options.
Hey? It's kind of like buying cell phones nowadays. It's the same thing with cars nowadays.
Except you're reselling your cell phone, and it's going to not depreciate as much as your vehicle will in 2 years.
Yeah.
So the other side of the coin there is if it's not one of those 2 hard reasons, buy it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, if you're going to stay in that vehicle for over 5 years, then it doesn't make sense leasing it, unless the third option is you get a good residual. So if your residual, the percentage of the vehicle that you're guaranteed to buy out at the end of the 3 years, you know is going to be lower than what the market value is, then you're buying your own vehicle for a lower price than what that vehicle should be. But no one can or guess what that future is going to be. So that's a gamble in its own sense.
Clayton, are used car salesmen required to have bad mustaches?
Absolutely. I was working on mine for the longest time. But, that was Movember that made me wear a mustache.
I'm just wondering if that was a prerequisite.
So since you just did this and you said you did it online, is there throw-ins or freebies that I should always try to get included when I make a deal for a vehicle?
Oh, I think you should try for everything. If you're not trying, then
But what's even on the table? Because sometimes we don't even know what's on the table.
Yeah, it's hard to ask if you don't know what's happening.
Well, and that's a great question. If you're going to ask for, I want 4 brand new tires, well, tires right now are between $5,000 or $500 and $1,000 a corner. So you're talking between, $2,000 and $5,000 total. There's no way they're going to throw in brand new tires or winter tires for you, but they may help you out and say, okay, we'll give you cost plus 10% on our tires. And I think that's where you start negotiating, because you want them to have a win, right? You're not going to say throw in these $5,000 tires. You're going to say, hey, if I buy my tires here, will you give me cost plus 10%? I think that's a good negotiating play.
That's interesting.
Okay.
I got 2 out of 4 winter tires comped, if you will.
So you got 50%.
50%.
Because there's
comped.
4. Yeah. So 2 is half.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah, 50%.
Thank you.
Tanner, your math is specific.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out that initial ounces to liters we were talking about with the booze. That's my page looks terrible.
Okay, we're going to ask you to peel down the layers to its rawest form.
This is where it gets intense. Clay.
You are the car salesman 10 years ago. What was your biggest? Tell me about your biggest sucker moment after you sold a car. Go.
There isn't one.
Get off.
Oh, see,
Jog on.
We're back in.
Now here, I
We're
was
back
also
into the
that
cabal.
guy that gave the people the numbers and sent them away. Go home and think about it. It was always that guy.
Why that way and not the gotcha way?
because I'm not that type of person either.
Yeah.
Right? I send people away because I want to make sure that they're happy with what they're doing, with what they're choosing. If they decide to go and take that number somewhere else, they weren't worth it to me anyway.
Yeah.
Who you would, I guess, at the end of the day, more often than not, come out on top? Someone like you, who's generally trying to get people what they need, or the Slimo?
A great question. I think that how long are you going to be in the industry? Because if I would have stayed in the industry for my whole career, I think that I would have had a lot more people coming back to see me than somebody that was sticking it to every single person that walks through the door.
That's fair. That's a fair.
You're not going to send your daughter to that person. You're not going to send your grandmother to that person. Whereas I had repeat people all the time because they knew I treated them fairly and I gave them the options that they wanted.
To be fair, we don't want grandma to drive.
No, definitely not.
People shouldn't drive anymore.
No.
That's a whole podcast in itself.
That's a
Why
whole
are you
podcast.
driving?
Clayton, thank you for telling us about those two fields. Do you have any other questions about the car dealership industry? Because I'm going to go to this next thing if you don't.
Well, the next thing is why I'm here.
Okay,
because this is the really, really important questions.
Okay, we got a couple here. Now, Clayton, you are not even a closet. You're an outward fan of the Dave Matthews Band.
Outward fan.
He's very outspoken about loving the Dave Matthews Band. Is that correct?
This is correct. This is not a falsehood. This is not something you read in the gossip papers at all. This is truth.
Why do you like this band?
There's something about the music, the beat, and the way that he has his lyrics that are so completely fucked up, but just fits in the same way. And then when you go to a concert and you see and hear everything around you, it sucks you in like a sponge, and all of a sudden it becomes part of you. And then the next time you hear that song, it takes you back to those moments when you're sitting on the side of that grassy hill in the middle of the state of Washington at the Gorge, and you're just like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. When I saw him at Vegas and he did a acoustic set for 3 straight nights, 3 hours each, all different songs, it's mesmerizing how talented he is. But then when you have everybody in the crowd that is singing the same songs and dancing and smiling and enjoying themselves like they are, it's euphoric. It's just something that brings you into this place that as soon as you hear that song again, you think back to those times and those memories and those feelings, and it's addicting.
Am I an asshole for only knowing ants marching?
Not even a little bit.
Don't drink the water.
I literally know no other. No, wait. What would you say? That's the only other one I know that he sings.
So
I'm
Matthews.
Yeah.
Now this guy, if you think about it, he's got fans all over. However, he said a quote the other day, which I had to chuckle about. He goes, "We don't have millions and millions of fans. We've got 35,000 fans that travel and see us every single weekend at every single stop." The guy tours everywhere and has been touring since 1994.
Yeah.
He goes and he is the most touring band of all time right now.
Would you say
his stops?
Go ahead.
His stops include, he does 30 tour stops in the summer. Most of those are 2 to 3 nights each. And then he heads to Europe and he hits 20 more stops. Next week, he's going to be in Mexico that he does every February. He does a concert on the beach for 3 nights and Cancun. And then he goes back on the road and then he starts his spring tour and then goes back into the summer tour again. It's all year round. It's phenomenal.
Wow. When's the last time you saw him?
Last time I saw him, we were supposed to go and then COVID hit in Vancouver. So the last time I saw him would have been Chicago after my divorce.
Oh, okay.
So a while ago.
It's been a
I went
while
solo
ago.
to that, all by myself. Spectacular.
Fucking it was probably the best thing ever.
So
it was so cool.
So Clay, Dave Matthews.
Yes.
1990, working a bartender in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yes.
His friend is a lawyer, Ron Hoffman. He introduces him to Carter Buford,
Right.
and away they go, right?
Yep.
And they start off from there. 1994, the first big one, Under the Table.
Under the Table and Dreaming.
Under the Table and Dreaming. 25 million concert tickets sold. I think back in like 2018 was the first check. Won the Grammy in 96 for So Much to Say, I believe.
Yep.
I say these things because I want you to know that it's coming from a source. I hate Dave Matthews.
And that is completely fair.
I despise him with I despise him with the same passion that you enjoy him, is how I'm going to put it.
And that's, you know what? You can't expect people to love absolutely everything.
True. Yeah.
I think that I've grown a more liking to a lot of the different genres of music out there. But at one point in my life, what you're saying about Dave is how I felt about country music.
I still feel about that.
Corbyn
country
talks
music.
shit about country all the time.
Oh. Why does he sound like that, by the way? Dave Matthews.
Is it what would you say? Is he rock? Is he jazz?
What is he?
Is he folk rock?
Oh, man, he's got all of the genres from bluegrass to rock to jazz to country to folk.
A little bit of shit in there, yeah.
all rolled into one big joint.
Is he more like a rock version of Jack Johnson?
I'll tell you a story. He discovered Jack Johnson on the side of the beach in California.
Get out.
He did. Yep. He was going there for a concert. Jack Johnson was playing. He stopped to listen to him and said, "Here's my number. Call me. You're going to be big."
That's a pretty
I didn't know that.
story.
That's interesting, yeah.
Do you hate him now, asshole?
Yeah, I still do.
Oh.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have had to listen to fucking Jack Johnson either if he just shut up and stayed in his lane.
What are your top 3 Dave Matthews songs? 3 to 1.
3 to 1. Big-Eyed Fish. Bartender.
Oh, wow.
And Crush.
Okay. And would it offend you if I told you I've never heard of any of those songs?
Not even a little bit.
Oh.
No, like there's a lot of those songs, and he did a version of Ryan Whiskey that is one of the best versions I've ever heard. It's, if you look that up, it's just, he starts it so eloquently, and then it's just such a cool song that if you've heard the original, the way that he pulls it off is just awesome. I was in the crowd at the Gorge when he played that, and I was like, this is the coolest song of all time.
Well, I don't want, because I support people in liking things, and I'm happy they like things, so I'm not going to shit too much on it, even though he's a scummy, terrible band. But I'm glad I'm glad you have a thing that leads into one of the reasons we're here, and one of the reasons we do what we do on this podcast is everyone, even in the jobs that you did as selling cars and running restaurants. Your job can be shit. It can be tough. And one of the things we like to talk to people about is their journey through that shitty toughness, more so, and the things they do to cope. So, what helps you cope? Kind of tell us that journey of your, whether through mental health or through just fighting regular stress, or what it's been through that career. I know you spoke about a divorce in there, but what do you do now to cope to kind of get through those times? And you can't say listen to Dave Matthews because that'll just make you mad internally.
Yeah, I have a bath. I put candles on and I throw some Dave on.
Take me away, David.
Coping, I think, is different for absolutely everybody, and whether you're the type of person that needs to go for a run to help cope with the times when you're feeling like the walls are coming in on you and everything's too dark, you don't want to go outside, or you don't want to leave your couch, or heaven forbid somebody fucking phones you. It's just like, those are the types of things, and fighting the battle through mental health it's an ongoing thing. It changes daily on how you react to it and how you deal with it, but it's having those outlets and those little things that you do to remind yourself that whatever's happening right now is only going to last. So just hold on, and then you'll get through it. I've been dealing with mental health for a very long time, as Corbyn knows. And the problem with my mental health, I had 12 concussions So it didn't come from a PTSD or of seeing something bad like in a police officer or a firefighter or somebody that was over in a war across the ocean. This was, it's the physical banging of the head against everything, including the ice. But I had no idea of a lot of the things that I was dealing with, because as I grew older, I would mask it in many different ways. Being in the service industry, you're going to go out and have your cocktails and have your drinks, and then you're going to go to sleep and wake up and do it all again. And then next thing you know, it's 5 years later. But then something wakes you up to that, being like, hey, you've got something else going on and you need to find somebody to talk to about this. And when I was first approached about that, of course I was in denial. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not depressed. There's no such thing. I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. But then all of a sudden you start to take away the thing that masked all of those feelings. And all of a sudden you're in that deep, dark hole looking up saying, what the fuck happened to my life? It's a tough battle to go through, and it was a grind. And have I won? Absolutely not. But I'm still here today, and that's a big win in itself. There's not one thing that I do except look at my daughters, do everything I can for them, because that's the joy I need to help pull me out of whatever rut or whatever hole I'm in. For me, that's my escape, that's my support, and that's my help to get me out of that little funk, that little darkness, and that cloud that's hovering.
Do you find yourself more, because as we deal with depression or mental health, the longer we deal with it, the for me anyway, the more I'm aware of when a bad stretch is coming. Do you find that?
This is the biggest thing, 100%, because back in the day, we didn't have any awareness. Just we were all of a sudden feeling like shit or didn't want to do anything, but we had no idea because we were also uneducated too.
Yeah.
Now you think about what we've learned over the last decade compared to where we were 30 years ago, hell, 20 years ago. Like it's night and day what we know now. And the fact that we're talking about it, and I've done my own podcast series on this as well, and I have no problem talking about it. I'm a 20-year Movember activist. Talking about mental health is one of the most important things, because if you're not talking about it, then that person that doesn't know that they're in that rut doesn't know, A, that it's okay to talk about, and B, that that's what they're feeling right now. And that's the biggest thing.
And what kind of got you to the point, and Corbyn, jump into this too, when, as you said, you start to realize when the moments are coming. Do you remember when you first were there, when that realization first kicked in and you said, okay, well, hold on. This is happening just because it happens. It's not because of something I'm doing or not doing. But like, do you remember that moment where you kind of started to have that realization of what that depression pull actually is? Kind of what that looked like for you?
I had to have the conversation. I had no idea until I started talking to somebody about it, because the person I was talking to started asking me questions. It was like, what do you feel when this happens? Or what happens at this point? Or whatever questions they're asking, because they're pulling stuff out of you. And then they're so, like, they got a doctorate in it, so they know what the hell they're talking about. But they know how to pull things out of you that you had no idea was deep inside you until you got to that point. And it was after the divorce that, I obviously really hit rock bottom at that point in time. And then being able to find my way out of that hole was because I had, support of the friends and family around me, but also had the words from the people that were helping me and helping me acknowledge what the hell I was feeling and what the hell I was dealing with and going through. But when you talk about Corbyn's point of when you feel that darkness coming on, sometimes you just have to jump in and ride that wave right through the storm, because now I know, and how cliche is that, the sun's always going to be out behind that storm, because it truly is. These things, they don't last forever. You just need to get through that. You know, it could be a couple hours, it could be 24 hours. As long as you're through that, then you keep going. And we're the type of people in the service industry, or who we are in our generation. This is where the term the masks come on, because we put the mask on, we go out there, we do our job, we go out there with a smile on our face when we're inside hurting and not caring. Right?
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it. I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked you before.
Okay.
Are you're first off, you're aware of your mental health situation now than you were 10 years ago. Would you say you're better off because of the divorce? Or would you have been worse off?
That's an amazing question. Such a loaded one in that aspect, because you look back, and my ex and I, we had a good run, but we were not meant for each other. Mm-hmm. So we were that pair that made two beautiful things together. And if it wasn't for meeting her, I wouldn't have those two monkeys with me. And short answer, the divorce was necessary. There's no way that we would have been going 20 years strong, because I don't think that she was able to be the supportive one to help me get through it. She's a wonderful mother to my kids, but she was not the partner that I needed to help me navigate what the hell's going through my head.
Do you talk about mental health with your kids?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an easy conversation, because especially when Movember rolls around.
Yeah.
You know, the podcasts that I had, the podcasts I listened to, the motivational things that I have, I don't hide it at all. And I don't think you need to. What worries me is how it's being used as a crutch for a lot of people out there, because that really dumbs down, for lack of a better term, what people that truly deal with mental health are going through. A classic example, I'm going to bring this up, and Tanner, I'm not sure how big of a sports fan you are.
No, he's not.
Well,
okay.
But I'm willing to listen.
Oh, I could tell you about sports.
So anyway, just when I say the team's name, just think of it as a corporation, okay? So just recently we found out about the 5 Canadian hockey players that are now going through this sexual assault case. All 5 of these players at one point in time were in the NHL. 4 of them currently in the NHL, and 3 of the 4 teams had to set out press releases saying that the players were no longer on the team, and they had to take a leave of absence to deal with something personal or something to that effect. One of the teams came out and said that the guy is taking a mental health break. Yeah, and when everybody knew what was going on, yet they took the road of saying that this guy's going on a mental health break when everybody knew that he was going to be charged for sexual assault. So basically, using it as a Band-Aid or a fix, or starting to throw that coat of paint over it that all of us deal with, or many of us deal with out there, kind of pisses me off in a sense.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I never thought of that when I first read that, because I read that and I'm like, oh, but I didn't know what was going on when I saw that press release.
Yeah.
And they were banking on you not knowing.
Yeah, that's what they were probably banking on.
And they're trying to brush it under the rug. Just another thing. Oh, don't worry about it. But guess what? This was not a mental health thing. For all of us that do suffer from depression, and we fight the battles every single fucking day, for them to put that coat of paint on it really hit me hard.
Yeah, because not only do they hide behind it, it's still putting some type of stigma on people who actually deal with depression, because they're telling the general public, oh, well, these guys, they're going to get charged sexual assault, but they have mental health problems. Right? Because now that, intentional or not, that stigma begins to get painted.
well, especially now because they're celebrities, and what everybody thinks, what celebrity does is that's the holy grail right there, right?
That's
Bible,
the new religion.
Verse. Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you, because you brought it up a couple times, Movember. Just for the people who don't, I guess, realize the actual point of what Movember is, just not having a silly mustache. What does that mean in general, and what does it mean to you?
Movember, when it first started, it was all about the fun of, hey, let's grow a mustache and go from there. We're talking 20 years now. So this started out in Australia. A couple of friends were in Australia, and they started to say, we're going to grow a mustache because we wanted to talk about prostate cancer, because they had a friend that passed from prostate cancer. And that's where it began. And then they brought in testicular cancer, because obviously the cancers go 1-on-1 for men and men's health. And that's where this all stemmed from so long ago. But then they started doing some research with all of the attention that they were getting and the amount of suicides that happened with men. The numbers that they saw was just astronomical. So they brought in mental health awareness with Movember to be coupled with the testicular cancer and the prostate cancer, because men's mental health is such a huge thing, because we all suffer in silence and we never talked about it. And the suicide rate for men our age was just going through the roof. So I think it's extremely important that this is part of the thing that we talk about. Yes, please get your testicles checked. Yes, please go get a prostate exam. But yes, please talk to a friend, talk to a buddy that you haven't heard from in years, because you don't know how they're doing. They could be in that deep, dark hole, and just hearing your voice could start to show the light a little bit.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate you kind of walking through that. That's kind of the point that, I don't know, Corbyn and I like to do with this.
Have my barrage of text messages annoyed the fuck out of you over lately? Or are you just happy to talk right now?
You know what I love is, and I'm going to bring this up, we all know Corbyn is a baseball fan. We all know Corbyn is a football fan.
Yeah.
We all know Corbyn is a basketball fan.
Yeah.
These are all different sports.
Corbyn was not a hockey fan.
No.
However, I appreciate the texts I get about hockey, because they're inquisitive to a point where you actually give a shit about asking the questions. You're not asking the questions just to build a relationship with me. You're asking the questions because you're like, what's going on with this? I don't understand this rule. Why the fuck did they just do that? Why are they hiring this person? How come they pulled that goalie?
Yeah.
And it's great. And you know what? Text away. That's why I got free texts.
All right. I'm going to ask you a couple fun questions now to finish this off. Okay.
Love it.
We're going to talk. Okay. I want you to rank these 5 matches. Okay. Shawn versus Triple H, SummerSlam 2002.
Okay.
Shawn's return. Steamboat Savage.
Yeah.
Austin Hart, WrestleMania 13.
Yeah.
Taker Shawn, WrestleMania 25.
Was that the second one?
That was the second one.
Thank you.
And then Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18.
Now, for the layman out there, what these two gentlemen are talking about is there's an English setter competition in New England every year. And it really gets in. And why they like this competition is that it really gets in to not just the agility of the animal, but the actual, like, the coat and the maintenance.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is that not
That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Let's continue.
All right. Okay, rank them. Go. 5 to 1. 5 to 1.
Cena Triple H 5. Liked it, but not as much as the other 4.
Okay.
Taker HBK, because of the story over 2 full years, the return match, everything about it, the colors.
It's a good one.
Love that.
Yeah.
Rock Hogan 3.
Okay.
Rock Hogan 3 because
that crowd was nuts, hey?
But the thing was, it wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
They were so confused. It was supposed to be The Rock was the babyface. Hogan comes in as the asshole NWO, but then the Toronto crowd turns.
Just flipped it.
They flipped the script on the WWE, and they didn't know what to do with it. but that crowd made that match.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's fair.
Both The Rock and both Hogan ate into that whole thing.
Yeah, that was good.
Austin Hart, because the pure
that was
grit of the whole story, it was epic. And Hart is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
But Savage,
Steamboat. All these years later,
because that was the match that hooked me.
That was WrestleMania 3. That's how long ago
that
it was.
was the one that said, wow, this was magical.
Yeah,
I was just hating Savage, and Steamboat had to go and be victorious over him, and Savage was such a dick, and it was just yeah.
I had someone who listened to our second podcast.
We touched on this.
Say to me, you know wrestling's fake, right? And I'm like, yes, I know wrestling's fake.
Thanks,
however, that movie you're watching, that book you're reading, it's not real either. So
professional wrestling,
lighten the fuck up.
Professional wrestling is the soap opera for adults who don't like soap operas.
I'm just going to say mine was Shawn Triple H SummerSlam 2002 because I don't know. That was my number one. Yeah. It's awesome. But Steamboat Savage is right there.
I liked Cuddly Clipper because he did the obstacle course in under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes?
Yeah,
that's
like
unheard of.
Well, it was a big deal, right? And the crowd really was against him. And I think a lot of his match came from the crowd as they pushed.
Do I make fun of your Dungeons and Dragons?
We haven't really got into it yet. I'm sure you will.
Now I'm going to.
I know
now
you
it's
will.
On.
Tanner, that's one thing that I would love to get into is Dungeons and Dragons. I would love to sit down and go through a played session of that, be guided through a game, because I think that is just involving a whole different world, a whole different imagination, and I think that's pretty spectacular.
We will, Corbin, we will have a D&D episode where we really kind of get into the nitty-gritty. Yeah, because it's great, and I love it as much as you guys love
sports,
the wrestling, which is not real. You guys, you fucking losers.
Yeah, yeah.
But Captain America is real.
Yeah, Captain America is real.
Well, yeah. Dave Matthews Band.
Gone Girl's a fake book, just so you guys know. Ladies, it's all made up.
Well, you know what? I got to say, I really, really appreciate the candor up until the point of you not revealing the cabal's true nature of the restaurant and vehicle sales industry. But it was really nice to get to talk to you, Clay.
You're a champion for these two industries because you were not bending.
You didn't give. I don't think you give it up.
You didn't give at all.
We were gonna pry.
Well, you guys don't see in the screen. There's actually a gun.
There's some guy
from the kitchen.
You're reading a cue card right now.
I just want to stay alive for the next 24 hours.
Okay, so we're going to Vegas in a week.
We're going to Vegas.
Give me your top 3 things you're looking forward to. Don't lie. Go.
Oilers, Vegas, win number 17.
That's the same thing.
Yeah,
that's number 1.
And 2 and 3.
And 3. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to some nice food. I'm looking forward to throwing some dice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing some craps. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And you, audience, can look forward to wonderful video updates from both Corbin and maybe a secret attendance from everybody's favorite Clayton on the social medias.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm gonna take some videos this trip.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put them on there.
We talked about it. We'll get it on there.
We'll figure it out.
We confirmed.
Clayton, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you've been great, and thank you for letting us question you. Thank you for sharing. You've been awesome.
You know what? And just give me 2 more seconds here, you guys. Thank you for what you do as well. And like I had mentioned before, I did my own run of a bunch of solo podcasts talking about mental health and things to that effect. And the way that you guys come together and bring fun, energetic, and lively conversation to a topic that is so important to a lot of people out there, it's very, very much appreciated. You guys are killing it, so my hat's off to you guys.
Flattering. Thank you
That's
very
awesome.
much.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, we try to make it fun, but you should still talk about it.
We should still talk
Absolutely.
about it.
Yeah. No, we look forward to. Hopefully, we'll have again, and then maybe that time we can get a little, maybe in person, so no one can hold a gun against your head, so we can actually get the secrets out of you.
So you guys can hold the gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Tell
can
us
hold it.
now.
That's right. We will have we're going to play Dave Matthews Band the whole time until you answer our questions because it's torture.
That's torture for us.
That would be
Terrible
your torture,
fucking
Tanner.
Band.
What is it? Well, who don't you like musically?
Dave Matthews Band?
No, I know you don't.
Oh,
like
sorry.
Dave Matthews
That's
Band.
me, yeah.
Who don't you like?
I couldn't think of something off the top of my
Jesus,
head.
he won't even go
No,
against
I know.
music.
He looked. I saw he looked to the right. He looked to the gun guy.
he looked to the
and
gun
guy's
guy.
like, you will say nobody.
That gun, I tell you.
Is Dave Matthews holding the gun against you right now? Is that what it is? Is that why you said you liked it?
Is he arrogant for
No, I
saying
got
Dave
nothing.
Matthews Band like he can't name the other guys or have a generic name? What a
Ballroom
dick.
music. I have a problem with ballroom music.
Oh well, that's just one step, two step bar
So
way through.
arrogant. I'm
Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band, and you will say that will be our name. Damn it!
Yeah. No, it was great. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Gordon. Where can they find us?
Guys, check us out on Apathy Podcast on Twitter/X. You can find us at Radical Apathy Podcast on Facebook. We'll be on Threads eventually. If people still use that, I don't know. We'll be posting some fun Vegas videos on Facebook. It'll be awesome. And then you can check us out all the... Well, if you're listening, you know where to find us. I mean...
We're
find us on all the
into it by now.
podcasts.
If you're listening, you're
Google, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Podcasts.
Big shout out to Clayton. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here,
so
sir.
much.
And we love you all. Hope you have a good night. And that's it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.